Hey guys, this is Arun,
And this is Abby.
and welcome back to a brand new episode of Fill Your Pockets. Today's episode will be August 26th. It is a Thursday, so let's get these bets going. Quick recap of yesterday. We went 0-1 with our one play. We had a two-team money line parlay. We had the San Francisco Giants. That leg won in our parlay, but the leg that lost were the Angels. They lost to the Orioles. The Orioles were on a crazy losing streak, 19, and this is professional sports. The Orioles just were hot last night, scored 10 runs against the Angels. That eighth inning, the Orioles poured it on with 5 runs, but the Angels ended up losing. We ended up losing our parlay for this season. We're sitting at 23 and 18, I believe. So we're still in the green. It's a new day, and we expect to bounce back from yesterday's losing day. So far this week, we've been doing really well, but just yesterday we had a little bad day. But we are gonna bounce back today, and I can assure you that. Abhishek, do you quickly want to go over these plays from yesterday, the Giants and the Angels?
Man, if I was the Angels, I don't give a fuck. I'm not paying any of those dudes yesterday. Not paying any of those dudes. You lose to a team losing that has lost in a whole month. Whole month, all I did is lose, and you lost. Show time, oh time, man. I jinxed myself. I jinxed us. Giving him praises. He deserves it. I understand. He deserves it. I'm not trying to be recency bias out here. I just don't know what the hell is going through his mind. He didn't look like he was comfortable the whole day. First inning, 2 runs. Angels score 6. And I thought, okay, here it is. That's it. It's over. But what does Otani do? Gives up 2 runs again. And 4 runs for him, that's pretty bad, in my opinion, especially to a team like the Orioles. It was meant to be. I had a feeling as soon as that score was 6-4, this is meant to be. They're going to win. It's like they can't keep losing. It's about time. They deserve to win a game just so they can feel somewhat relieved of the losing streak, not the burden no more. And that's exactly what happened. And then we get to the Giants and the Mets. If anyone watched that game, that was one of the craziest games I've ever seen. Errors left and right, people not catching fly balls, missed throws to first base, not being able to catch balls in foul territory, etc., etc. But the Giants won. They were the Mets were the favorites. I didn't understand why the Mets were the favorites. I understood. I get it. Yesterday it was a close game. You can say whatever you want about that. Um, Taiwan Walker, to be honest, he was phenomenal. He does not deserve a single piece of blame for yesterday. All those runs that were scored were not even his fault. They couldn't throw the ball. They couldn't catch the ball yesterday. If you watch the highlights or if you watch the game itself, he was pissed. He was pissed as a manager. He was pissed at, I guess, his own teammates. And he had every right to be. 6 innings, he was dominant. He deserved to finish that game, to be honest. He didn't even pitch that many pitches. But they did what they did. They made the choice. They took him out. And as soon as they took him out, the Giants smelled blood and they scored, I think, 2 runs. Yeah, 2 runs in the sixth. It was a sixth or seventh. And they took the lead and they didn't give it back. It was 3-2. Giants won another close one. The Mets, they just cannot score. These boys, professional hitters, they just cannot score. 2 runs, again, bases loaded, ninth inning. Pete Alonso, their best player, can't score. They just can't score. Their pitching they're so lucky that these games are not blowouts because the pitching is keeping it 2, 3, 4 runs. But man, these guys from being on top of the division to where they are now, it's not a good. One New York team is rising. We're gonna get into that team, and one New York team just can't stop falling and can't get up. And the Giants won. Unfortunately, we picked the Angels as well. Got a little bit of greed in us yesterday, I'll be honest. So that plus money, a little extra plus. But it is what it is, and we move on to today.
All right, moving on to today's slate. In today's episode, we'll be going over 3 games. First game of the day, it's an early game, 2 o'clock Eastern time game. We got the Reds taking on the Brewers. Right now, Milwaukee is leading the season series 10-8. Odds for this game, basically a pick 'em on DraftKings. You can find Cincinnati at -105, Milwaukee Brewers, you could get them at -115. Abhishek, the first game, it's an early game, 2:10 Eastern time game. Who you got, man? Reds or Brewers?
I'm gonna be honest here. I don't like today's slate that much. It's kind of like Mondays, but gotta do what you gotta do. Gotta pick the games. Gotta review the games. Gotta find a winner somewhere. So let's try here. Reds and Brewers, as Arun mentioned, the Brewers won the first two games of this series the past 2 days. The Reds are in the playoffs as of right now. The Padres keep losing, and the Reds have lost the last two, but so have the Padres, which is why the Reds still are right there, one game advantage over the Padres. They need to try to lengthen the gap between them and the Padres, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure they'll tell you the same thing. Let's get into the matchup today. Sonny Gray versus Brent Anderson for the Reds. Right, as I mentioned in the playoffs right now, lost the last two to Milwaukee. Gray has looked better than earlier this season. He struggled early on, then he got hurt, then he came back, then he got hurt again, and now he's back, and he's looked more like himself. He hasn't been dominant. He hasn't been like what he was last year, but he's still been pretty solid recently. He's giving his team a chance to win. And in the last two seasons that he's pitched against the Brewers, 3.4 ERA, 3 runs allowed per start, basically, is what that means. And that's solid. It's not fantastic. It's solid. He's giving his team a chance to win. Now we get to the Brewers. They're 8-2 in their last 10, won 4 straight. They're clearly the cream of the crop of this division. They're going to win the division. They have nothing to worry about, in my opinion. The Reds are 9 games behind them. I don't see any way. The Brewers are – there's no way, in my opinion, they're going to lose a division title. So they don't got to worry about that. Now we get into the pitching matchup for them. Brent Anderson, he was on a hot streak like a couple of weeks ago, 5 starts around. He was doing pretty damn good. But now, recently, it has turned back to like how he would usually pitch. He's a so-so pitcher. He's hit or miss, and that's exactly what we're getting now. He's been struggling. His last 3 starts, the Brewers have lost. They've lost all 3 of them. And the concerning part about it is in those 3 starts, 2 of them were against teams that are awful, the Washington Nationals and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Those games weren't even competitive. He lost both those starts. So if you're going up against those 2 teams and you can't get them out, the Reds, I understand the Reds aren't the best team against lefty pitchers. That's the one advantage I'll give Anderson. He's a lefty. But the Reds are a playoff team. They can explode any moment on anybody. So I think if minus 105, they're basically saying the Reds are the underdog. I understand Arun mentioned pick 'em, and that's you can basically say pick 'em, yeah. So if we were going to lean towards any side here, I think it'd be the Cincinnati Reds.
All right, moving on to the second game of the slate. It is a 7 o'clock Eastern Time game. We got the Giants taking on the Mets. Right now, the Giants are leading the season series against the Mets 4-1. They have won these past 2 days against the Mets, but today they are finally the favorites in today's matchup. You can find them on DraftKings at minus 120 value, and the Mets for today's matchup will be the underdog plus 100. Abhishek, the Giants are finally favored in this matchup. Who you got, man? Giants or Mets?
The Giants should always be favored against the Mets. I don't care if you're pitching or I'm pitching. That's just the situation we're in right now with these 2 teams. I'm sorry. I don't care who's pitching for the Mets. They can't score. Unless they give up no runs and the Mets score 1 run somehow, then that's the way they're going to win at this point, even though they have a lot of players making a lot of money and a lot of star power. It's just not translating. I don't know how they're going to fix it. There's like 5 weeks left in the season, and it's getting bad, and they don't have much time to recover. As Arun mentioned, the Giants are finally favored. First game, 8-0. They destroyed them. Yesterday, close game. It shouldn't have been that close, in my opinion. But 3-2, the Giants won again. The Giants' best record in baseball is do what they do. Today, pitching matchup, I think, is nothing crazy. I think it's both pitchers that are up and down. Alex Wood, he started off the season great. Got a hiccup in the middle, and now he's basically hit or miss again. He's kind of like Brett Anderson, but I would say he's a little bit better. The Giants won 4 straight. Alex Wood against the Mets in his career, 3.2 ERA. Nothing great, nothing bad. Right there. Solid for a lefty. His last 2 starts, 12 innings, 4 runs allowed. So basically 6 innings and 2 runs per start. Not bad at all. Solid. And he's going up against the Mets. And the Mets, listen, man, they can't score against anybody, so that also is a plus, I'd say, for any opponent that they face. The Mets are 2-8 in the last 10. 2-8. Jesus Christ. Continuing to struggle, as I mentioned. They're 14-25 against lefties. That is not good. That is a huge sample size as well. That's nearly 40 games of evidence. They clearly are not a good team against lefties. And Carrasco, who is Cookie Carrasco, nickname, whatever you want to call him, even though I wouldn't call a man Cookie. That's just my personal opinion. Carrasco, awful. Last 3 starts. 4 runs allowed, 6 runs allowed, 3 runs allowed, and 2 of those starts were at home. So just because he's at home, that don't mean shit. He's been a reliable pitcher in his career. He's coming off of an injury, obviously. He didn't play for the majority of the season. He's come back. Give him props. He's giving it his all. He's a professional. He's going to do his job. It's just that I think the Mets not being able to score is rubbing off on the whole team, including the pitching staff, because it's adding pressure to them because they got to give out basically a 2-run, 1-run shutout. And if not, they don't have a chance. And that's too much pressure for anybody. I don't care what level you play on, high school, college, professionals, etc. And that's the situation they're in. So minus 130, fantastic value. If you get teams like the Giants, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Houston Astros, if you get teams like this at minus 130 or below, that is just easy pickings in my opinion. Take advantage of those situations because you're not paying a premium to just pick them to win the damn game.
All right, moving on to the last and final play that we'll be
Prime
going
time
over.
game, baby.
Yeah, prime time game. 9:40 Eastern time game. We got the Yankees taking on the A's. Yankees on a 11-game winning streak, looking very, very hot. For the odds for this game, the Yankees actually opened up at plus value, plus 100. Right now on DraftKings, you get them at minus 115. The A's on DraftKings are minus 105. Abhishek, 11-game win streak on the line against the A's. Who you got for this nice matchup, Yankees or A's?
Longest winning streak, as Arun mentioned, since 1985. 10 years removed from me being even thought of to being born in this world. Same thing with Arun. I'm a little bit older than you. We
Yep.
weren't even thought of, bro. We weren't even close to being realized. 1985, the New York Yankees, historical franchise, championships, etc. All the players, all the legends. That is shocking. I did not think that was right. That this is the longest winning streak since that time, but it is what it is. And let's get into it. Obviously, 11 straight, as we both mentioned. 17-3 in their last 20 games. Just like yesterday, where we were going against the Orioles, who were just constantly losing. This is the complete opposite. The Yankees just keep winning, and they're playing against good opponents. They took care of business. My bad, against the Braves, a very, very good quality opponent. Minnesota, they were playing good. Look what Minnesota is doing to Boston. Boston has their hands full against Minnesota. I think Minnesota beat them twice already. And that's showing you that Minnesota, they've been playing well. Obviously, their season has not gone as planned, but Minnesota is giving a fight to all these teams. The Yankees also took care of business against the White Sox. And before that, I think it was the Mariners. So Yankees are playing quality opponents during this winning streak. So you should take credibility into what they're doing. They're not just playing against the Orioles or Rangers or Pirates or those bottom feeders. They're not. They're playing good baseball against good quality opponents. Their pitcher on the mound today, Talon, in my opinion, he has been their ace. I don't care about Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, obviously $300 million man. He had the whole spider tack incident with the whole material for the balls. Had to go through that. Then he went on the COVID list. So Garrett Cole, he would tell you he's not having his best season. But I know who is, and that's this guy. Took a flyer on him. We've mentioned that earlier on the previous podcast. He's been dominant in my opinion. Last 7 starts, 1.99 ERA, less than 2 runs allowed per start. Yankees are undefeated in his last 7 starts. That is a great sample. He is delivering for them, and they are winning. Their confidence level is obviously through the roof when he is pitching for them. They got a rest day yesterday, so all those arms, Loizica, Chad Green, Peralta, etc., are all got a day off, so they're likely going to be available just in case they need them tonight. And then, in my opinion, their lineup is they're healthy. They made those trades. There's not a single easy out, in my opinion, in this lineup. Stanton is hot as shit right now. This is why they paid him $300 million, and he is delivering. He is scoring. He's batting over 300, if I'm not mistaken. I think he has a home run in 3 straight games, if not more. So hopefully the off day hasn't affected him. It's only been 1 day, but you never know. Now we get into Oakland. One team in the Yankees, 11 straight wins. They're rolling, the best of their season. Oakland is a complete opposite. 2-8 in their last 10. Just like the Mets, they're not as bad as the Mets. I'm not trying to compare nobody to the Mets. But the Oakland A's right now, they're struggling to score big time. They've scored 5 runs 2 times in the last 10 games. That's pretty significant. 2 times they were able to score 5 runs. The other 8, they weren't able to come close to that. So now we get into the pitching. James Kaplerian, I'm sorry if I'm getting his name wrong, the rookie. To be honest, he's been a godsend for the A's. At home, he's a way better pitcher than he is on the road. 5-2 at home, 1.77 ERA, fantastic. However, this is going to be his toughest test. He's played the Rangers 3 times. He's pitched against a couple other teams, the Royals, and he hasn't gone up against the best competition. He has. I'm not trying to diminish his record, but this will be his toughest test, even though he's at home. And he has gone up against the Yankees already this season. It was in June, early June. I think it was June 18th. He was at Yankee Stadium. He gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. So the Yankees have seen him pitch before. And 3 runs, 5 innings, not bad. Not anything special. But, yeah. So the Yankees were able to get to him. So all in all, for this game, I would say pitching matchup, you can say even. So then we got to get to the rest of the team. Lineup-wise, it's not even close. The Aaron Judge, Stanton, Gallo, Rizzo, etc. They got the LeMahieu, all of them. All of them are balling right now. You got to give a lineup advantage to the Yankees. The Oakland A's just cannot find ways to score more than, 3, maybe 4 runs. And then since they both had off yesterday, if we're going to take into account the relief pitching, you got to give it to the Yankees. They have more arms. They have more better arms. Loizica is the best pitcher right now, one of the best relief pitchers in baseball right now. So he'll be available most likely. So all in all, like I said earlier with the Giants, Dodgers thing I mentioned, minus 115, they were plus money at one point. So if you got Yankees with plus money, that's fantastic. Minus 115, that's also fantastic. I'm pretty sure by the time right now it's 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, this game is 11 hours away. By that time, it'll probably be Yankees minus 130, minus 140. So the earlier you can grab the Yankees, please do. Ride the streak and don't look back.
All right, guys, that wraps it up for today's episode. That's 3 games for you guys. Um, hope you guys have a great Thursday. Hope you guys win some bets. And with that being said, happy gambling and enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.